Hey, what's up guys? And welcome back in to the garage. Now in today's video, I take you guys through the steps that I took in order to replace an old worn out OEM roof rack on my 3rd gen 4Runner with a beautifully restored OEM roof rack. Now, as a reminder, as in all of my videos, I utilize chapters. And so if you guys would like to use those chapters and skip ahead to a certain portion of the video that might interest you more, please feel free to do so. Now, in the beginning of this video, I take you guys through some of the steps that I always take on all of my projects for prep, primer, and paint. And the reason why I wanted to show you guys this is because I've been doing these steps for many years, which were handed down to me by my father, and they have always produced extremely good results, both in finish and longevity. And so I really wanted to share that with you guys and also just show you what I did in the preparation of the replacement of this roof rack. Now, after that portion of the video, we move into the actual swapping out of the roof rack, and that includes really detailing the roof and prepping it for this brand new model that I'm putting on there. Portions of that include clay, compound, and polishing, and to say the least, I am thrilled with the final results. I hope you guys stick around through the entirety of this video because I think you'll be pretty surprised too. Now, as always, I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate the likes, the comments, the shares, and the subscriptions. It really allows me to continue to do what I love, which is to share my knowledge and hopefully empower you guys to have more confidence in doing any DIY project on your own and realize that you can do it and you can get excellent results no matter what the project is. So as always, I really appreciate you guys sticking around. I appreciate you guys coming back, and I really hope you enjoy this video. It's a good one. As always, thanks so much. I'll catch you next time.
It's a beautiful morning, and I'm excited to finally be taking care of this nagging problem I've had on my 3rd generation 2004 Runner, and that is an aged out OEM roof rack. This thing does not look good, and it really takes away from the appearance of the vehicle and just shows its age. You know, for the most part, my 3rd gen I think looks really good for its age, but this is one of the things that has bothered me for quite a bit of time. The finish on the OEM roof rack has been fading and flaking for quite a few years now. So today we're going to start the process of replacing it with the refinished and refurbished roof rack that I purchased on Marketplace. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by taking some of these components off and giving the roof a wash. And we're going to clay bar it. We're going to compound it, polish it, and we're going to get started and take you guys along the journey with us. So let's get after it.
All right, guys, so here we are. We are ready to start priming, painting, and restoring these roof rack components, and we're going to start with these 4. I've got my side rails and some cross members here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a microfiber towel and just wipe off any dust here. Now, I've already sanded all of these down. I started with a 400, went to 6, went to 8, went to 1,000, and finished with 1,000. These things are extremely smooth, and the surface is ready for painting. Next, we're going to take some 91% isopropyl alcohol here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a microfiber towel, a clean microfiber towel, and we are going to douse it here with some of this alcohol. And this is going to be our paint prep. So we are going to clean off our surfaces extremely well with this alcohol. And as you can see, it's going to dry really quickly. Now, this isopropyl alcohol is an excellent prep for painting. It's going to get the surface clean and ready to accept the paint, and in this case we're going to start with primer. And one thing you want to make sure to do is really wipe it down every surface that is going to be accepting the paint. You want to get into these crevices and cracks and get everything wiped down to get as much dirt or dust off of the surface and clean as possible. Now, this is the top of the cross member bar, and actually a rubber component slides in here that I have actually taken out and will slide back in there.
But we're gonna start by painting the bottom side first. That's something that I always do in my paint applications, because when you paint, you spray paint, that's gonna create an edge here, right? Because you're not gonna be able to paint it in 360 degrees unless you were to hang this somewhere. When I do that, I flip it around. I wanna be able to paint the top of the surface last, because that paint layer is gonna lay over the other paint layer, and that's the finish you want. This is the product we're gonna be using. We're gonna start with primer, and this is the Rustoleum Professional Primer. This is the red cap, or burnt red cap, and that's because we're gonna be covering it with a dark. So I've always used this whenever I'm covering it with black. And this Rustoleum Professional product is excellent. It is probably the single best spray paint I think I've ever used. Not only do you get this high output tip, which is excellent coverage as you lay the paint down, but also I've tested this and used it, and man, it lasts really, really well. So this is the primer we're gonna use. So let's get it shaken up, get some gloves on, get ready to go. Now on your first pass, you want that cloudy look. That cloudy look is actually really good, because that tells you that you're not laying the primer or the paint on too heavy on your first pass. All right, so that's our first pass of primer on the side rails. It's looking good, definitely good first coat. Now we're gonna attack the next guys. Now when spray painting from a can on a surface like this, what you want to do is you want to start on one edge, go to the other edge, and then fill in and lay the top last. That's going to make certain that any type of edge that you create from your spray paint here or here is covered flat by the top surface, which is where you want it. All right, so our first pass is done, and just a little tip, every single time in between coats, what I'll do is I'll keep a paper towel or a shop rag handy, and I'll come over here to the tip of my spray can, and I'll use my fingernail, and I'll clean that tip out. What that's gonna do is it's gonna keep that nozzle clean so that your spray paint comes out in a nice fan, just as it's intended to, and it doesn't clog up and start to kind of spit, for a lack of a better term. If you have a clogged tip here on your can, it's gonna spit heavy chunks out, and that'll affect how your spray paint lays on the surface, and it'll affect your end finish. All right, let's let this dry, and we'll come back for coat number 2. So I've been letting this dry for about 15 minutes. Usually on the first coat, I'm gonna let it dry for about 15 before I start on the following coats. And I just wanted to show you guys how nicely this product dries and lays down. It's just, like I said, it's really the best spray paint product I have ever used. And that's why I continue to go back to it. So We've got it nice and dry, and we're gonna start on the following coats. Probably put about, I'd say about 3 coats of primer on here before I start on my top coats. All right, so we're ready to go on primer coat number 2. Let's get after it. Now on this primer coat, we're gonna lay it down just a little bit thicker than the first one, but not much. Honestly, I pretty much keep it the same until my final 1 or 2 coats, and that's when I really start to get just a bit heavier on the primer coat, almost like a normal paint coat. All right, primer coat number 2 is complete. It's looking good right now. We're gonna go ahead and let this dry up for about 15 minutes. Your drying time is gonna vary depending on the humidity, the heat, the time of year that you use spray paint. So just keep that in mind. I always really try to paint when it's not that humid and also not that hot. Now, it's the summertime now, so I really have no option. It's pretty humid in here. But as long as you control your spray paint, you really should have good results. I really try not to spray paint when it's either extremely hot or extremely cold. So just keep that in mind. Keep your prep and your process good. It'll turn out well. So let's get this dried up, and then we'll go on probably to the final primer coat. So there we have it, 3 coats of primer. These things are looking excellent. And what I'm gonna do is let them dry for about an hour, and then I'm gonna flip these 2 pieces over and paint the opposite side. We'll do 3 coats of primer there. Then we're gonna let everything dry again, and then we'll start on the final coating of our black paint. And then we still have the 3 pieces left. I believe it's 3, it might be 4 actually, but we still have more pieces to paint, but I'm gonna do those in a different section and possibly a different day. So we'll just see how long it takes to dry. These guys are blushing up because it's quite humid. So honestly, painting them in the late evening or potentially even at night would probably be a better idea for me when I start on the black. So there we go, looks great. Well guys, we got the other components painted, and as you can see, quite a lot of primer has gone down on this drop cloth today. But we've got another can, and we're ready to do these bars here that are the cross member bars. Now, in this channel is actually where a piece of rubber slides in, and that's because this sits on top of the roof. So I'm not gonna worry about painting this. We're just gonna paint the sides and the top of each one of these. I have gone ahead and prepped these and wiped them with the isopropyl alcohol. So we're ready to roll. All right, our first coat's done and this laid on really well. So we're gonna wait about 15 minutes, come back and put on a second coat. Well, we've got 3 coats down, guys, and these bars are done for the evening. Just wanted to show y'all that this primer lays down just fantastic. Obviously heavy on the drop cloth here, but man, it looks good. It might be kind of hard to tell in the video, but it just really lays down fantastically smooth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these cure for about 24 hours before I go to paint with the final coat. And that way I make certain that everything has had time to adhere. So we're going to let these rest overnight and we'll come back tomorrow, start laying on the top coats. Well, guys, it's been 24 hours and we're now in the late evening time, which in the summertime is a great time to paint because the humidity is lower and the temperature is lower. So the primer has cured fantastically on this product, and I am once again just elated at how this Rustoleum Professional has performed. And so we're going to start on our top coats, and we are using the high performance enamel, same product. This is the semi-gloss black. I have flipped over my drop cloth here, and we're ready to go. We've been shaking this up for about 5 minutes. So without further ado, let's get to spraying. All right, and as with every single pass on the first coat, we're gonna go kind of light here. I'd say light, like a ghosting to a medium. You know, I don't ever stay in one spot and really focus. I just wanna pan and cover each pass as I go. And so that's the first one. We're gonna let this dry for about 15 minutes and we're gonna come back, number 2. All right, guys, so here we go. We're going with coat number 4, and this is gonna be it. This is the last coat. I think 3 is actually enough because if you take the primer into consideration, we're at like 6 coats right now, which is pretty insane. But again, this is what I do on all my painting projects. So, you know, judge me or judge me not. This is what I do. Let's go, coat number 4. All right, so that's it. 4 coats in and I am done. It looks beautiful, man. So pleased with this, and I think as it dries, it's really gonna look fantastic. I'm gonna leave this to cure for at least 24 hours before I move it, and then we'll start painting some of the other components. On to the next day. Well, our other components turned out great. It's been 24 hours, and now we're gonna start applying our top black coat on these guys. Let's get rolling. All right, guys, coat number 2.
Well, the first place we're going to start on are these cross racks here, which I could refer to as like a luggage rack. And in order to do that, you got to start on these little turn pieces right here. All you have to do is just unscrew them. There's a tightening mechanism on the bottom. So we're going to unscrew these all the way to loosen that mechanism from the top. There we go. Now let's go to the other side. All right, now that we have these loose, we can actually remove them completely from the vehicle. Now, getting our cross members free is going to be a bit of a different process here, and that's because we're going to have to unscrew at each base, and then also we're going to have to take the rear cap of the roof rack rail off to be able to slide these out the back. Now, I want to wash the vehicle, so I'm going to put that cap back on when I do wash the roof, and then when I take these rails off here, the side rails, I'm going to kind of wash those in a more centralized focus manner so that I don't get a lot of water going into or around those holes that are in the roof itself. So let's go ahead and get these off. All right, now in order to get this rear cap off here, you're gonna need a T25 socket, which I have here, or some sort of T25 variant star set tool to remove that. Once you get that screw out, you can essentially push on that cap right there towards the rear of the vehicle. That'll get that off, and it would allow us to slide this bar out, this cross member. We're gonna do that on both sides and get these cross members removed.
All right, guys, so with everything off but the rails, we're gonna go ahead and start our washing process now to get this roof washed off and get all of this mess off before we take these rails off and start washing carefully there. So let's go ahead and get that going. All right, now that we have the main roof washed, we're gonna go ahead and remove the 5 screws on each rail and remove the rails so we can wash underneath that. One thing of note when you're removing these screws is that these screws should actually be inserted with some sort of sealant. And in this case, we're going to use Toyota FIPG, and I'm hoping and thinking that that's what they used from the factory. So when you go to remove these, you're going to feel some sort of a unique resistance as that screw is pulled through that FIPG. So that's totally normal. Just take your time, go slow at it as you're removing these. Now with all 5 of these removed, we should be able to just take this rail right off the vehicle.
Upon closer inspection, you can see years and years and years of dirt and grime that's been trapped underneath these rails. And this is the first time I've ever taken the rails off. So that's been at least 15, 16 years. Probably the first time ever. As you guys can see, we have some mounting locations here. And you can see right here that this is that gasketing material I was talking about. And you'll need to put that back down prior to reinstallation of your rails, which we will do today. And you know, you guys may be experiencing some leaks in the headliner of your 4Runner. If you are, this is a really good place to check. A lot of times what happens is the material wears down, as you can see it has here, and the it loses its ability to seal off from water. So as it rains or storms, you're getting water leaking in through these locations. So you might have to take these steps that I've taken just to get here to be able to fix your leak. Now in this case, that's not my problem, but I'm excited to go ahead and get this washed up. So let's get these holes covered. Let's get this washed up nice and careful, and we'll move on to the next step. Now that we have the roof in this condition, it's ready for the next 3 steps in regards to my particular project. And that's going to be a clay, compound, and a polish. We're going to do all 3 of these steps on the roof. And what better time to do it than now, when I have everything off the roof and cleaned. So that's why I'm doing it. Now, I'll come around later and do the rest of the vehicle because I don't have time to do it all today. But we're going to get after these 3 steps. And this video isn't going to be a how-to on conducting a clay compound polish. So we're just going to take you through it a little quick and get on to the next step of installation on our new roof rack.
Well guys, fast forward a couple of hours later and we are done, and I am extremely pleased with the results. Just wanted to show you all the products that I used today. I used the MeGuiar's Clay Kit, the Pro Speed Compound M100, the Pro Speed Polish M200, and the Showcar Glaze M07. These MeGuiar products are excellent if you use the right pads and the right products and tools to get this job done. So we put the canopy up over the 4Runner to give us some shade so that the surface area that we're working on stays nice and cool, which definitely allowed us to do this job the right way. So the roof is looking fantastic. I'll give you guys some better shots here of the finish that we were able to achieve with these products. And next up, we're ready to put on our roof rack. So super exciting. Let's get going. So this is a really good shot under the canopy to show you guys the finish we were able to achieve on our painted surface. You should be able to see at the end of the roof line, it almost looks like water. You can see the reflection of the house upside down and the reflection of the canopy in the roof. So yeah, really, really good. Now we just got to do the rest of the car. Got to find time for that. But until then, let's get the roof rack going. Before I place these components back onto the 4Runner, I just kind of wanted to show you guys the restored components of this OEM roof rack. Now, it took me a couple of weeks to do a restoration on this and paint, but I think it turned out looking really, really good, and I'm excited to get this on the runner and see how good it really looks in the sunshine. And here are the other components of the roof rack, which I primed, painted, and have been letting cure for a couple of weeks before installation. So it's all broken down, and now we're ready to put it back together and get this thing looking so much nicer. So here we are, we're starting on the passenger side, and what we've done is we've gone ahead and gotten our new side rail prepared. We placed this backing here. It slides in and out on the rail. And then we also placed our three of these brackets here into the rail, and that's going to be for our luggage rack cross members, if you will. So we're lining it up here, and we're going to use this Toyota Seal Packing 103 FIPG. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply it to each of these 5 holes. Here, here, here. We're going to be liberal with it. And then we'll set the new rail down in place. And after that rail is set in place, we'll put a little bit more of the FIPG up top, and we'll start to screw in here at the middle and work our way to the edges, where then we will have to place our end caps in that we have on each side. So that's the plan. Let's see if we can execute here. Now that I'm thinking about it, we are not going to place any type of FIPG up top here. I think that would not do well and actually interfere with the screws going in. I think as we press that in, that FIPG is just going to naturally come out and create a seal. The goal there is just to get it just tight enough, and now I'm going to work on getting my end caps in. All right, so we're going to repeat our process with our FIPG here and get a nice thick perimeter around each hole. All right, now that we have our gasketing material down, we're going to set our rail in place and start threading in our screws. All right, well, next up are the luggage rack cross members, and I liked them where they were before, so we're going to try to get them in the same spot, even though our compound polish and wax job did a really good job of, for the most part, almost totally removing the kind of the faded areas, if you will, that were left behind. Number one in. Number two is right about here. And the last one's going to be right in that general area right there. Now with these, you got to line them up here with the brackets that are inside of your rail. And this is a bit of a process here. There we go. You got to kind of thread it until you feel that essentially it grabs onto that and starts to lift it up. Well guys, fast forward just a little bit and we got it done. I kind of had to go off camera for a little bit because I realized I made a couple of mistakes in putting those end caps on prior to putting the main crossbars on. But we got it all handled and all taken care of, and we're about to move the canopy, give the 4Runner a wash, and take a look at the finished product. Guys, this job has been a success and I am so pleased with how this OEM roof rack refurbishment, say that 7 times fast. Man, I'm pleased with how it turned out. Check it out. Really looks good. I'm telling you, this Rustoleum professional paint really did an excellent job. Let's go look at the other side. Here's a shot of the driver's side. Super pleased with this job, guys. This roof rack looks brand new and certainly helps the 4Runner look much less its age.